Happy Halloween and a happy end to the month of October. I'm Chanel, this is Spirited Stardust, and today I am doing my monthly wrap up. Okay, so let's start with my life updates. In October, it was a very mixed bag. There was some really lovely moments and there was also a lot of grief and loss. We did have 2 deaths in the family this month, so that was quite devastating and very difficult. And I also did have a health setback, so I am trying to recover. I did start doing the autoimmune protocol diet, but I was just reacting to literally everything, even things like coconut and sweet potato, which are meant to be anti-inflammatory and very low allergenic. So I'm just doing my kind of elimination diet along with my gut healing protocol. This month I decided to try dating again. So I did go on 2 dates with 2 men, and they were both really lovely. One of them was a very, very fun date at an arcade, and I had a really nice time. They had a lot of emotional intelligence and empathy and sensitivity and kindness and thoughtfulness. So those are very much qualities I definitely want in a life partner. However, with both of these gentlemen, I just felt zero chemistry, sexual attraction, that kind of thing. So there was no romantic connection for me, unfortunately. After those 2 dates, I did decide to take another break, and I'm still on that break and will continue to be until at least mid-November, because I just have a very heavy social calendar from this point until then. So no success in the dating world. Today is Halloween. I absolutely love Halloween. I've just gone very, as you can see with my outfit, it's just very tame. I'm basically just a bat lady. My daughter wanted me to be very low-key this year because I am picking her up from school, and she didn't want me to embarrass her. I normally tend to like dressing as male characters for Halloween, so David Bowie from Labyrinth, Mrs. Doubtfire, Vincent Vega are just a few of the my past Halloween costumes, but this year I just was like, okay, I'm just gonna I'm gonna keep it tame. Next year I'm gonna go back to my usual Halloween outfit schedule, and I'm already getting ideas of maybe what I want to do next year. But this is the get up. I'll put a little video here of the full outfit. So it's kind of cute. It's just bat stockings and a bat top and some bat winged eyeliner. So very simple. Tonight, my youngest will help me hand out candy to whoever comes to our door. And my eldest is being driven around with some of her friends by my ex-husband. So those were our Halloween plans. I used to throw big Halloween parties, and everyone keeps asking me, when will you do it again? But you know, that was back when I was married. It's a dual income. There's an extra person there to help me throw the party, and it's too much for me. I can't do it. Maybe one day in the future, maybe when my kids are older, so I have that extra help, I'll be able to throw a big Halloween bash again. But at the moment, it's just not an option. Now, on to the other things. So TV, Loki season 2. You don't know how excited I was for this. Out of all of the Marvel shows, Loki was definitely my favorite, followed by WandaVision. They did Wanda so dirty, but anyway, Loki I did actually really enjoy. So this season has been no exception. Obviously, they're still going, so there's still episodes to come. Every episode almost finishes in a cliffhanger, especially the latest one. I'm like, there's more episodes, right? Like, you didn't just leave us hanging like this. So yeah, I just really enjoy it. I like all the characters and the whole concept. So Loki 2 has been fantastic. Now, I have made a lie of myself. Last month I said that I was not going to continue with One Piece. However, this month, to help with my health conditions, I did decide to take time off work because trading is very stressful, and I wanted to try and tame down some of the cortisol. And so I took some time off work. And in that time, I did read, but I also watched a lot of TV, I'm not gonna lie. So I decided to give One Piece another go. And I'm glad I did, because Draco Mihawk, oh my God, and Sanji, his kicking scenes and the actor himself did those stunts. They just brought some life to the show. And the comedic element has kicked up. I think it definitely needed more comedy. I feel like the first episodes was so serious and heavy and kind of dark, whereas now that there's a bit of levity in, I'm enjoying a lot more. But I'm going to be honest, I'm here for Draco and I'm here for Sanji. I'm a basic bitch. throw in some hot eye candy and I'm like, okay, I will watch, it's fine. But I have enjoyed it and I probably will continue with the series. In regards to movies, I watched Coraline with my kids. So I decided that would be a pretty good, not too scary Halloween movie because my youngest is almost 9, but she still doesn't like scary things. And it was fine. She didn't really enjoy it. It was a bit too boring for her, but my 12-year-old really enjoyed it and liked it. So it was nice to go down memory lane watching a movie I haven't watched since I was a child. But yeah, Coraline's great. I also watched Meet Cute. Now I thought this was going to be a romantic comedy. It's not. It's very, very dark, to be honest. It focuses on themes of depression, trauma, toxic attachments, and unaliving oneself. So I don't know. It was mildly entertaining. I didn't really feel much chemistry between the two main characters, but it was just a bit weird. It wasn't what I was expecting, but it wasn't terrible. I did watch it all instead of turning it off, so that was the only movie that I've watched this month. In regards to books, I think I read a total of around 37 books this month. The only 5-star that I gave out was for Big Panda, Tiny Dragon. It's a very cute, sweet, illustrated book about two friends, Big Panda and Tiny Dragon, and sort of about Buddhist philosophies. So for instance, on one page, Big Panda asks, what's more important, the journey or the destination? The company, says Tiny Dragon. It's just like little bits of wisdom, but with beautiful illustrations and a lovely duo. And it just felt like a hug in a book. So that was the only 5-star book for me. If you watch my booktube channel, you know that I very rarely hand out 5 stars. It just doesn't happen very often, but I do read a lot. So this was a better month overall. In terms of reading, I was very harsh with DNFing, and I think my average rating ended up being almost a 4, and that is phenomenal for me. So music, so some new songs that I listened to was My Power. This is a medley with a lot of different artists. One of them is Beyonce, and I really found it quite powerful and I liked the song, so I listened to that song. And the next song I listened to is because my daughter was playing it on repeat. It kind of grew on me, and that is Greedy by Tate McRae. That sometimes happens. If I hear a song enough times, I might end up liking it, and that was the case with this one, Hey Sylvie. Food wise, another thing that happened this month, my best friend had her birthday, and for her birthday I made her and her husband some chestnut chocolate pots de creme with a Swiss meringue, and these were pretty good. It's not the best chocolate pots de creme I've made. I'll have to say that the chestnut flavor wasn't very strong, and it obviously made the texture less smooth and silky, so I probably wouldn't make it again in the future. But otherwise they came out perfectly, and my friend seemed to enjoy them, so that was lovely. And I put it in one of my Sharon McLeod cups, and Sharon McLeod, as you might know, is a deck creator and has made many decks, but she also made these cups, so I thought it was super cute. In the garden, it's still an ongoing process. My mother and my stepdad have been coming to help once a week, but basically all we just by the time we get one area done, at the end of the month, that area is overgrown again because I have a very big garden and we're getting a lot of drenching rains and then sunshine at the moment. So everything's just kicked into overdrive, like the grass situation takes a lot of time. All the weeds have sprung back. So we get it looking good, and then we move on to the next quadrant. And by the time we've come back, the first quadrant is wild and untamed. So yeah, it's been a bit of a struggle trying to keep up with that. I'll have to spend more time. I'm just going to have to dedicate more time to gardening myself, not just when my mother and my stepdad come once a week. But the good news is my wildflower little meadow that I put aside, that the flowers have sprouted. So I did use seeds for that area, and it was I was like, well, it's either going to work or it's not going to work, but the seeds have sprouted. So hopefully in a little while, I'll have some wildflowers there, and I hope to eventually expand the wildflower meadow to at least half of the front yard, because I don't need that much grass in my front yard. So I would like to do that, and then we've got half the grass for having a picnic, because we do like to picnic in the front. So hopefully that's what happens. In regards to eating out, the best cafe that I went to this month was La Fantasy. I went with my cousin for a catch up. The vibes and the aesthetic of the cafe was gorgeous, and the food itself was really pretty. and actually quite tasty. So I had this rose latte, which was beautiful in this very large martini glass. And then I had this sort of okonomiyaki dish, which was gorgeous. However, the s'mores dessert, not that great. So that one was a bit of a miss, but that is definitely a cafe that I would return to in the future. I thought I would also talk about Kickstarter decks that I backed this month. So this month I backed the Tarot of Her. It is a round deck. It's very colorful. We'll see what it's like. Hopefully I enjoy it. With all of these decks, sometimes it is just a bit of a gamble. I'm rolling the dice a little. You never know what it's actually going to be like, but I like to back the Kickstarter just in case they don't actually have enough decks to sell afterwards. I know that most of the time on Kickstarter they do, but you know, I'm happy to take the risk rather than waiting to see somebody else walk through the deck and then deciding to buy it. So besides that one, I also backed the Noble Moon Tarot. So this is very bright and pink and colorful and collage. And I'm looking to expand my collage collection because I really, really like collage. It's the art style that I also like to do. It's the only art style I can do. I have absolutely no skill with like drawing or clay work. The only crafts I do are basically crochet and then collage, digital art. So I also then obviously I love looking at other digital art because it inspires me. I also backed 3 Black Moons, and I think this is my favorite out of all the decks that I've backed. It's just it's so moody and sexy and raw. It's a photography deck, and I do love photography decks. I used to be into photography a long time ago, and I had some of my work actually go up in a gallery once. But I don't know, it's just one of those hobbies that just went to the wayside, and I'm thinking, should I get back into it and maybe make a photography deck? I'm thinking about it, but after making my last deck, it's kind of really turned me off, the whole process of making a deck. But I think that's to do with the guidebook portion, which I'll talk about once my last prototype comes along. But yeah, this one, I love it. I love the style. It's very witchy, it's dark, and it's seductive. And I'm looking forward to getting that one. I think I definitely probably will break my no yarn buy to get a yarn that I think will match the aesthetics of that one, because yeah, it looks very promising to me. I also backed one called the 21st Century Bellini Oracle. So I think this is based on a former card system. I can't quite remember, but it wasn't, a typical system, and they've just obviously modernized it and changed the aesthetic. But it was intriguing enough for me to go, all right, let's give it a go and see what it's like. The last deck that I backed this month was Phases and Forests. So this is by the creator of this oracle. Why can I not remember the name of it? But this very famous, popular oracle. I didn't end up keeping that oracle. It just didn't really do anything for me. It wasn't read well, and the guidebook was very basic. So I just found myself not reaching for it, even though I liked the art style. So I decided to give this one a go because I do like the art style and I do like the theme of this oracle. I can see that it has sharp corners, and I will be rounding those because I can't shuffle anything that's got sharp corners. That's the last deck that I've backed this month. So I backed quite a few. I don't normally back that many, but that's what was, I decided to have a punt with. There were so many others too that I was thinking of backing. I think one was called the Baroque Tarot, if I can recall, but not enough pictures were shown. I really won't back a deck that only shows a couple of cards, because I have been burnt very badly in the past by doing that. So I do need to see all of the cards. So I think that one didn't do that by recollection. But yeah, there was a few decks like that I'm just like, oh. And there were some others I just wasn't sure of. So there was quite a few that I am waiting to see walkthroughs of, and I may end up purchasing in the future if I think, oh no, actually that looks really amazing. I also pre-ordered Gentle Chaos, which is made by Ghost Honey, which is back when I had Instagram, was someone that I used to follow because they are delightful and they always brought a smile to my face. I especially love the video of them talking about their driving gloves. It's just hilarious and adorbs. And I saw this on Crochet Witch Tarot. So she showed the deck. In Australia, it's not available yet. I could purchase it from America and have it shipped here, but it makes it triple the price. And I just couldn't justify paying 3 times the amount instead of just waiting another 3 months. So I've decided to wait another 3 months. That being said, sometimes when I've done this too with pre-orders that I could get for more, I end up canceling the pre-order and I just pay more for it because I just get impatient. So that could happen with this one because I really do love the way it looks and I love the eclecticness of it. So we'll see if I end up caving and just paying more for the American deck to be shipped than waiting for the Australian one to come through. We will see. I think that's everything for this month. I haven't made any purchases for myself. It is my birthday month in November, and so I'm probably going to buy myself some gifts then. That's why I was like, let's leave your spending for November. I will be doing a giveaway for my birthday like I did last year. So when I read home decks, any decks that my mother doesn't want, I just keep them until I decide to do a giveaway, and I just give them all to one person. Because I just don't feel comfortable reselling my decks. So keep your eyes peeled for that. That video will come up at some point, probably in the next couple of days, so that I can give people a few weeks at least to leave a comment if they want to go in the draw to win that. But I'll talk more about that then. I am looking forward to the month of November. It is my month. So I did a video on YouTube with Scorpio season decks because my sun sign is Scorpio and I have a lot of other placements in Scorpio, very Scorpionic. The Scorpio one is the one I was most confident in doing. So I'm hoping this month is a good month for me. I've had a very hard time this year. There have been so many deaths. I don't think I've ever experienced a year where I have lost as many people as I have this year. Obviously my 3-year relationship ended too, and that was quite devastating. And then all of the health stuff and being robbed multiple times. It's been a lot, and I am kind of ready to be done with this year and just move forward. And everything's burned down. It's time to arise from the ashes. It's like I've made a nest for myself in the ashes and the cinders, and I'm like, okay, it's Phoenix mode, lady. Like, let's do it. So I'm hoping November is that Phoenix month. I'm feeling very positive about it. Like, even with my health issues, I've got like a plan and I've been sticking to it, and it hasn't been hard. Normally it's very difficult, especially with restrictive diets, but for some reason I've just been able to do it. Because it's like, well, you need to, you're in pain. You don't want to be in pain. Things will just get worse if you don't stop it now. So it just has been effortless. And November tends to be a very transformative month for me. Sometimes that's an easy transformation. Sometimes it's a difficult transformation. But, I've got my birthday, I've got weddings, I've got the Murniskin concert coming up. So overall, there's many things to look forward to in the month of November. But that is all for this life updates portion. So the next part, you're going to see all of the things that I crocheted this month and all of the decks that I worked with this month and my kind of personal reviews on them. So on to the next section we go. Hello, so welcome to the yarn and the deck portion of my month. So we'll start with the little squares of yarn that I've made out of scraps. So I do these in jasmine puff stitch, and eventually I plan to make a very big blanket with it. So these are just some of the scrap yarn squares that I have made this month. So let's take a look at the decks and the bags. So here is possibly my favorite bag that I made this month because I did it in jasmine puff stitch. And I absolutely love it. It is the cushiest. It is just beautiful. It's a pain. It takes up all the yarn, but I love it. So the yarn is Melbourne City Dye Works in a 4-ply. It's in the color Sledgehammer. And in it, I have my Cosmic Laws Oracle. So those are the backs. I edged mine in a dark blue. This deck is on almost like a photograph kind of glossy paper. It's very thin though, so easy to shuffle. I don't love the photograph glossy kind of paper. It's not my favorite, but I do like the imagery. So I do kind of just like this very abstract, swirly, watery kind of vibe. It is very evocative for me. I do a lot of chakra kind of work with this as well. I do not use this deck as it's intended. So I don't even read the guidebook at all. I read it all through once, mostly so I could understand the laws that were in here in case of what laws I wasn't familiar with. But otherwise, yeah, I think there is a very much a sort of translated issue with it. So the English is the meanings are confusing to me in some of them. And I don't quite get the gist of what the creator was obviously trying to convey with the meaning for those cards. So this is a purely intuitive deck for me, and it works really well that way. So I have no issues with working it in that way. And so I do really enjoy it, and it is staying in my collection. It's just, a deck that I use sans guidebook and go based on the intuitive hits and whatever my associations are with the keyword in context to the meaning it's with. So this is a deck that I use as a supplementary kind of deck. It's the sort of final layering of you know, tying up the ends of the reading. So yeah, I always use this towards the end, and I only use one card with it. I don't tend to use this as a single card pull deck. It is definitely one I pair with other decks and other readings, but otherwise I really enjoy it. You could also use this as a kind of Rorschach, like straight away I got a picture of a whale deck as well, but it does pair with a lot of things because it's pretty neutral in that way. But I do really enjoy it. And yeah, this was the Cosmic Laws Oracle. So the next deck that I got is the Flowers and Feelings Oracle. I have not made a bag for this because I just really enjoy the box so much. It's just dark cottagecore vibes and I love it, and so I'm keeping it in the box. The guidebook is fantastic. It's a beautiful quality deck, so can't fault the quality. It's got a lot of folklore and sort of goddess, magical legends, myths, fairy tales theme to it. So they are quite in depth. At the beginning of each card, you are actually going to get sort of write up about whatever is featured in that card. And then you get the divinatory meaning, and then you get something cool to do at the end. So I love when things have activities. I put it in my own Oracle deck because I just think it's really fun and it's something to do. You can really like sink into that pool. So that's the guidebook, which is fantastic. I absolutely love the backs. They're gorge. I'm just really into dark cottagecore vibes, and it's got the beautiful matte gold gilding. It's got that satin cardstock, which isn't my fave because I find the satins do tend to clump a bit when you're shuffling, like they will stick together a little bit. But otherwise, I really enjoy the deck. It's what I was expecting to after having had her Moon Witch Oracle. This one has a bit more of a varied color palette. So whilst there are some dark and moody ones, there are also bright pastel, colorful images as well. And with this one though, I tend to just want to do one pull on its own rather than pairing it with anything. This is how I have tended to use it this month anyway. I've just wanted to use it on its own and especially focus on whatever the activity is that is with it. This is probably my favorite out of the deck in terms of the imagery. I just love that one. So, and I do love that they've got the sort of theme of the card there, but then they've got a little sentence here already. So if you don't want to use the guidebook, you can say like, here, Flora, nurture the things you want to see grow. Like, it's enough. You don't have to get into the guidebook. So I always appreciate that with a deck, but otherwise I love the energy of it. I think it's beautiful and it's just really well done. And that is the Flowers and Feelings Oracle. So here is the next one. This bag is in Obsession Yarns. It is an 8-ply. And it's in the color Happiness, and the stitch that I did for this one is Crunch Stitch. So I went for a colorful deck because this is the Flower Medicine Oracle. So it comes with this beautiful color meaning card as well as this very cute spread card, which was a lot of fun to do. So the booklet for this is very minimal. So you just get like either a few sentences or some keywords, but it does the job. Like it's fine. I'm finding it very usable. These are the backs, which are cute. I'm not in love with them, but they're nice. It's got the shiny gilding, which I don't love because I find it sharp on my fingers. What I don't like about this deck is it is very long, so it is a bit more painful for me to shuffle it. It's on a beautiful matte cardstock though, so a really gorgeous matte cardstock. I love this deck. So as soon as I got it, I just really enjoyed it. This was from Etsy, so it's an indie deck. I like the art style and the flower paired with a single sort of keyword or phrase on the front. I do always go to the booklet for this one, and I will also reference the color chart. So also I do chakra work with it. Anything that has colors mentioned, I will do the chakra work. But I just loved it. I remember when I first got it, I just kept wanting to play with it. So you could definitely just use it as a one card pull with this one. But I also think it works beautifully in spreads. But like I said, just to pull one card and, put it up on an altar would also be fantastic because the artwork is stunning and I just love the energy of plants and flowers. So it is right up my alley. This one I got a lot and it was very fitting. Cleanse and purify, kind of detox. I was having a lot of health issues and ended up having to do that. So yeah, this one very, very happy with, and it will absolutely be staying in my collection, and it is the Flower Medicine Oracle. And yes, I just did realize that I forgot to clean up my nails. It's one of those days, guys, but I fixed that now, so that will not be annoying. Okay, so this is the next bag. I actually love the colors in this one. So this is in Maker Moran. It's a 4-ply, and it's in the color Venetian Evening. I don't even think I'm in focus, sorry guys. And for this one, I did the lemon peel stitch. So yeah, I just love the colors in this. And as you can see, I've kind of matched the backs of the Heartscape Tarot. So originally, all of these were stars, and it was quite possibly one of the most beautiful edging that I've ever seen in my life. But once you shuffle with it quite a bit, this is the effect that you get. So you don't see the stars anymore. But when it's in order, it is full of these stars. I do love the backs, and it's on a really beautiful matte cardstock, which, you know, is one of my faves. This deck, as soon as I saw some, I can't remember who the person was, but it has been on my radar. At that time, this was an out-of-print deck on Tabata. And then I signed up to the alert, like, when would it be back in stock? And the second that it came back in stock, I purchased it because this is just so transformative. Like, these cards, perfect for path working. I can really go into the card, and I just love the art style. It's so varied as well, so you don't want to get sick of it because it's not same. Each card is its own little unique universe, and I love that about it. So literally, like, I love almost every single card in this deck, and that really happens in a tarot deck. But I think it's stunning. This one, unfortunately, did not have a physical guidebook, so it is a PDF. I just don't use those, guys. I really don't. So that is the downside to me. Yes, I probably will eventually end up printing it. But it's just, I'm not really good at making home books. Like, they just look so dodgy. I guess you could probably go to a professional place like Officeworks in Australia to get it printed and actually bound, but I just don't want to spend more money to make the decks. I just wish it was an option to purchase a physical copy rather than only having it as an online PDF. The guidebook itself is fine. It's pretty standard, but, you know, I still like reading about it. So, you know, I do like to sometimes reference it, but most of the time when I'm pulling these decks, I'm not at my computer, so I just do kind of use my own intuition and also the imagery that's on the card for a bit more of a vibe check. I fucking love this deck, guys. It's gorge. It's definitely become one of my favorite decks, even though it's in the landscape, which I don't always love, especially if I'm doing a big reading. It makes it a bit awkward, but I just find it so bloody beautiful. And there's so many cats in this, which, thank you very much. A lot of the images do have a bit of a Studio Ghibli feel too, I find personally anyway. So I really do like that, but it's got like a magical quality to it, but there's also a coziness, and just, I don't know, it makes me happy. Even the, you know, cards like this, still very happy. It's not confrontational, and it's very soothing. So I was so stoked that this came back. I would say when you've got any Tabata decks, even if they might be out of stock, always check. Like, for instance, the Wild Child Tarot and Oracle are being sold again. So even though they do go out of stock, just sign up, because I think they do just eventually do more print runs, and that way you can get your hands on them for the regular price, not the, you know, out of print price. But this is the Heartscape Tarot. Okay, so next up we've got this bag here, which I just think is super cute. So this is shell stitch, and it's definitely a stitch I want to do more of in the future because I just love the way it works up. So this is in Hedgehog Fibers in the color Macaron, and it's an 8-ply, but I love it. It's gorge. So this is the Magical Spirit Oracle. This is a mass market deck. I have been familiar with this author's artwork for quite a long time. So when I saw that they were doing a deck, I did pre-order it. So in this one, she sections the cards into different elements. So the elements have their own keywords and their own number. And I do like to reference that when I pull the cards. It also comes with an affirmation spell and a manifestation enhancer, which I think is fabulous. This is just really well laid out and gorgeously illustrated. For a mass market deck, I think it's absolutely excellent quality. So great guidebook. These are the backs. The backs don't really do anything for me. They're a bit, I guess, drab with the brown tones. considering the actual cards are really colourful. It has got that sharp gold gilding, which I'm not a huge fan of, but it is a lovely matte satin cardstock for a mass market deck. It's a decent cardstock. So here you have the image, the keyword, and then the title, sorry, and then a few keywords down the bottom. And sometimes the cards themselves too also have a little saying or phrase. So even if you don't use the guidebook, there's plenty here to sort of chew on. These do have very big borders. I'm not sure how I feel. I don't dislike them. I think they're okay. I don't love them, but they don't bother me. Like, I will not be modifying this deck at all. But I really love the artwork. And I think, though, this would be a deck, I think if you used it a lot, you would eventually kind of probably get tired of it and want to put it away for a while. But at the moment, I've been using it a lot. So I use it with readings, but I also use it on its own. Like I said, I love the little extra bits and pieces you have in the guidebook to just make a reading a bit more meaty and juicy and in the real world, not just, laying the cards and all up in your head. It's got a physical sort of element to it. But yeah, I'm really happy. So I'm so glad I have this one, and it is the Magical Spirit Oracle. Okay, so in this bag, this is Life in the Long Grass in the color Pewter. It is a 4-ply, and I did it in Spider Stitch. And inside, I probably won't do Spider Stitch again. It's a bit of a weird, wonky one. We have the Ephemera Tarot. So this was a Kickstarter deck. This is made by the creator who made my absolute favorite deck, the True Black. This one is tarot, but it's kind of got its own setup, is in that the major arcana are not standard. They're not in the same order, and they've got a bit of a different spin, different names. So it almost feels more like an oracle to me in a way. It's also so heavily steeped in, once again, mythology, lore, history, and the hero's journey. So I always read the guidebook when I go into it. So with the guidebook too itself, you have the name of the card, you've got the keywords, and you've got about the card, about the imagery. So they tell you exactly why everything on the card is what it is, including the gold in the background, which is such a beautiful element, which I'll show you soon. This tells you which arcana that it sort of correlates with, and you've got upright and reversed as well. So fantastic, well written. It's on a beautiful rose petal finish on this card, which is stunning. I find that stunning. You've got the Ozymandias poem by Percy Bysshe Shelley. So I think that's lovely. There's a lot of gold gilding and foiling on this one. So it's just a title card. The backs, I don't love them. They're a bit busy. They do obviously look like tree roots and sort of that, historical account over time. So I do get why they're that way. I just don't love them. It's not edged, which I thought was a bit bizarre. I thought, why wouldn't they go for a matte gold edging? But they did not. I will not be edging it because I just don't think I have anything that would suit it besides a, gold edging. So yeah, with this cardstock, I find that it shuffles beautifully over time. Like my True Black is a beautiful shuffler. As always, the Quartz and the Major Arcana have these, to me, they seem like angels or almost even fallen angels. You could also call them like gods, like Greek gods. It's definitely an elevated entity on them. The other cards are pippish. That is the sort of nature of this creator. I find them to be a bit more pippish than the True Black was. So I find the True Black's illustrated pips a bit, less pippish. This one, though, not so much. The thing I don't like about this one is with the True Black, the biggest sort of draw to me was the play with light. It is just absolutely stunning, and it just makes it so deep and really draws your eye. So even with the pips, there's just a real 3D-ness to them, whereas I don't feel that way in this one. I'll show you again when we get to one. But like I said, these cards are always phenomenal. I am just in awe, and I love reading about what all of these images mean. Yeah, but with this one, because it's a white deck, you just don't get that dimension, that same dimension and depth to it as the True Black. If I remember, I'll put some images of the True Black up, but as you can see, like this, the pips are definitely more bare and stark than in the True Black, and especially like the cups in this one are just not as engaging. The cups in the other one just totally mesmerizing for me. But yeah, I know some people don't love that these beings are so perfect, but for me, like, I'm like, they're not human. So these are these cups in this one, which are okay, but they just don't have the same gravitas that the cups suit in the True Black does. But I still wanted to get it because, like I said, True Black is my favorite. I still do enjoy this. Like I said, it is just so well thought out and it is very well executed. It is just a bit more pibbish than I would like. And because it's lost that shadow light interplay aspect, it's a bit more flat, but still, like, I'm still very happy with it. And I have been using it a lot. I do tend to prefer to use this on its own. Again, I don't. It's just so meaty. And with the guidebook, I just want to sit there and actually like delve into it rather than sort of muddy the reading with other oracles. So this one I do tend to use on its own. I had a lot of comments from people saying that they think it does pair well with a lot of decks, and I would agree with that. It does play nicely visually with quite a lot of different types of decks. So it has got that appeal to it. You can absolutely use it. I just found that after a while, I just wanted to sit with it on its own, man. I just wanted to read. I did partially read the whole book. It's one of those guidebooks. I'm just like, I want to know what every single thing is on these, because even though I'm playing with it a lot, I'm not going to get every card in the deck. And I want to know, like what they've chosen to pair with this card, because it's just so fascinating and in depth. And I love that they've got the 3 counterpoint cards in this. So you've got male, male, female, female, and male, female. And even though it's meant to correlate with the Lover's card, each of the different pairings have different meanings. So do not get rid of the counterpoints. Like, you need all 3 of them. They have their own unique blend, and it's not all about romance. It's about relationships in general. The Continuum card I thought was just fantastic. I love the meaning for this one. It's nice that there are a few randos in here with, a lot of color, rather than just the gray and the gold. But yeah, it's very well done. It's gorgeous. Definitely staying in my collection. I don't love it as much as the True Black. I don't think I'll ever love anything as much as the True Black, but I'm still very, very happy that I did purchase this one. I think the creator and the illustrator just make a very fantastic team and very unique kind of decks. There's just nothing else like these two out there. So this was the Ephemera Tarot. Okay, so here is the next bag. It's got a really cute little autumnal kind of leafy vibe. So this is in Great Southern Yarn. It's in their 8-ply. I did it in the color Artist Studio, and it's in the stitch Suzette. So with this one, because I'm trying to use up my yarn collection, I ended up matching it to the autumnal like leafy vibes on these people's clothes. So this is the Soul Mirror Oracle. This is a mass market deck. This is excellent quality for a mass market deck. Like, the book is really well done. It's on matte paper, but it's full color. So this is pretty much a shadow work deck. So it's based on the concept of mirroring. So sometimes what you were triggered by or dislike in others is a facet within yourself that needs healing. It's that kind of concept. So it is a shadow work deck. They say to really go with your gut in terms of when you pull the card, are you noticing more the light or the positive aspect, or more of the negative aspect? They use the words love and hate in this one, but I don't really like that terminology. I just think shadow and light. So they also use the words knots as the word to use when untangling the shadowy aspects. So when sort of smoothing out what's triggering, what's, causing resistance and friction. So you've got multiple card spreads. You've got ones that also are themed as well. And then you've got the write-ups. You've got the picture and what you see on the card. And then you've got the reading with a reflection or journal prompt at the end. So I think it is well done. These are the backs. I think they're fine. I don't love them, but they're lovely. They're fine. They're absolutely fine. And it's got the shimmery matte gold edging, which I do enjoy. However, I found that this edging did bleed onto the front of the cards, and there was a lot of sticking. A lot. So this is a Blue Angel, so it's on the typical matte / satin Blue Angel cardstock, which, once again, it's great for a mass market deck, but I do find that you do get a bit of, the clumping together, because it's almost got like a velvetness to it. But I think the cards themselves are stunning. So I do like the way this is done. It's not obtrusive. You've got both of the words on the front. The deck itself is a limited color palette, but the artwork I find really, really beautiful. So I saw this deck on Sylvia from Fairlight Tarot's channel. She's the one that brought it to my attention. I was completely unaware. And I am definitely going to always check out Blue Angel and what's the other one? Rockpool in the future, because the decks just come super fast when you order them from there if you're in Australia. And I miss out on the new upcoming decks. I just don't keep my eye out for them. So like, yeah, thanks to Sylvia, I was like, oh my God, I want this deck. Like, this is definitely up my alley. So I was able to get it. So there are a lot of obviously female presenting characters in here. There are a lot of cats in here, which I like. It's definitely got the dark shadowiness to it. Sometimes there are a few cards that might have a pop of color to them, as you can see, but generally not. But it's stunning. I find it very, very, very pretty. And even though the Lantern Oracle is my main shadow work deck, I'm definitely going to intersperse this one in with that. I think, like I said, the concept's really cool, and I have enjoyed my readings with it. I do tend to pair this with other decks as well, like tarot, for instance. But it's pretty straightforward to me, and I always understand what I need to do after reading it. But I think it is very, very beautiful, and is definitely a deck that I am absolutely 100% keeping in my collection, and it is the Soul Mirror Oracle. Okay, so we've got this deck here, which I don't have the details for. I believe this bag I've lost the details for, but I know it's King Fiber. I'm pretty sure it's Cosmos. It's in their 4-ply. It's in their like super fuzzy melted suri label. So it's that one. And I think I just did this. I'm guessing it was just in literally single crochet because it's very fuzzy and I didn't want to mess it up. So that's what I did with that one. This is City of Dreams Oracle. So it's just got this little itty bitty, literally that's what you get. So just go straight into the cards. There's nothing really extra in it. It's just card meanings, but it's fine. It does the job. It's a limited number of cards, so it is on the smaller side. It has the holographic rainbow edging. These are the backs. I don't love them, even though I love that color. I don't know, I just don't really like that pattern. The cardstock itself is a linen, like high quality, flexible cardstock. So this is definitely not my kind of aesthetic at all, but I actually like to keep a really varied collection. I don't always just want cards that I think are aesthetically, my jam. I like to have some variance in there, cards that have different energy, and that was the case with this one. I do think it's well done. Like the readings always work for me. These cards, obviously this one I don't love, like in general, it's not, like I said, my vibe, but it reads well, it works well. I like the write-ups. I think they're well done. I like the things that they've chosen, very modern day life kind of things, especially like this one right here. So I enjoy that. It's obviously about New York City. I haven't been there, but I can easily use a deck that's based on a different place I haven't been. I have no problems with that per se. But look, I like it. It's very sweet. It's very cute. It's inoffensive. It's got more of a positive slant to it. But like I said, I did enjoy my time using it. And I like that it's got a very different art style than the rest of my collection, because like I said, I like to have a little bit of everything, and it's the City of Dreams Oracle. So here we have the Lost and Found Oracle. This was a Kickstarter deck. I have not made a bag because I am going to break my no buy yarn rule, because I have to do a red and blue yarn for this. I just have to. I can't just use the yarn that I have. It has to be red and blue. So I will be doing that later. You'll probably see it in next month's. So this is the guidebook. I absolutely love this image. It's just very striking. This is very unique deck. There are a lot of cards, which I appreciate. They are structured, so you've got different sort of orientations. You've got above, below, center, south, north. I always like to reference that to see what the meanings are, especially too if I do a multi-card spread and maybe I'm getting them all in the west, which is what's been happening. So I like to read, well, why is that? What's the energy with that? They also there's some examples of here how to use it in a business setting, which is interesting. And then you've got this. So some of the cards are also associated with other things. Some are associated with a major arcana energy, with a chakra, with a planet. So I always like to reference again too, because it just gives another layer to the card meaning. So here you've got some cool questions to ask yourself, which I think is always helpful. You've got the spreads. I really liked the Journey Lost and Found Oracle spread. I thought that was really fun to do. And then you've got a little prayer at the end. So the write-ups are fantastic. You've got a question down here, which I always think is absolutely bomb.com. You've got about the card, you've got the illuminated or light aspect, you've got the shadow aspect, you've got the keywords, and then you've got a practical medicine, which is once again an activity. And I'm a sucker for an activity to go with a card. So I absolutely love this. Obviously it's structured in terms of where it sits. And I just think this was really well done. I really enjoyed reading it. These are the backs, which I love. I edged mine in a red. It came out a bit softer. So this card stock is meant to be an art silk paper laminated. It kind of smells like plastic to me. It shuffles like an absolute dream. I am a sucky riffle shuffler, but I was able to riffle shuffle this easily. So I don't know if it is, obviously it can't be plastic. It didn't say plastic, but it just has that kind of feel and vibe to it. But it's beautiful and it's very soft and smooth. The cards themselves, you always get like a pair, like that'll say Holy Sage, and maybe Sagely Holy is the other version of it. So they kind of just flip the words around. Oh, these two upside down. It is a collage style and I like it. There's a lot of eyes in this deck, surprisingly. I normally have an issue with eyes. I don't have an issue with eyes in this particular deck. The topics, so like I said, are very interesting, very different than what I normally see in Oracle decks, but yeah, this just fascinated me from online. There are obviously deck cards I like more than others. You know, that is always going to be the case, especially with collage. But overall, I have had a lot of fun reading with this deck. So not only do I use it on its own and with other decks, I also do multiple cards with this on its own as well. I find it works really well in that way. Like I said, the spreads in it were fantastic and I didn't find it too much. I'm sorry, I've obviously riffle shuffled these in all higgledy-piggledy. But this was, yeah, really just surprising for me. Out of all the decks that I worked with this month, this is the one that I like the most. Overall, it's not because, you know, it's my favorite artwork or my cardstock or guidebook. It's just the overallness of it. I have just really bonded to it and have had an absolute blast. I find it goes with a lot of my decks as well, visually, so that's always a bonus. But yeah, I just love the way it is structured, and like I said, the write-ups are fantastic. It's just very interesting to me, and it's, you know, one of those decks, like I said, I can really get deep into the nitty-gritty. But yeah, I've had a blast. I love that there's so many cards. Like, Jesus Christ, way to go. Way to go to the creator for just putting in the effort and the time. But yeah, this was very surprising in how much I loved it, and that it ended up being, out of all the decks I worked with, and they were all fantastic decks this month, it ended up being my numero uno. So I'm probably not going to put it away yet. I want to work with it more because it came right at the end of the month. So I think I've only had like 5 days with it, so not that long. So I do want to keep going with it. So yeah, this was the Lost and Found Oracle. Okay, so this is the final deck that I worked with this month. So the way that I prioritize decks is whichever decks come in this month, if there are new releases that arrive, like hot off the press, I will prioritize those. So I'll do those immediately. So any Kickstarter or just released decks, I will prioritize. Whereas other decks that have been around for ages, like for instance, the Cosmic Laws Oracle and things like that, I will push back unless I get them at a time when I don't have any other decks. So there are a lot of, say, mass market and older decks that I have gotten this month, but I couldn't work with because I just kept getting Kickstarter and new release decks. So they're further down the schedule, and I just, you know, slot those for the next months to work with them. So that's how I kind of like choose which decks to work with. I'll always favor the Kickstarter or the just in, so that people can also see walkthroughs and determine if they want to, you know, purchase those decks as well. So I do tend to prioritize that, and that's why this one got worked with this month, because it just came out. So this is a deck that I also pre-ordered. But anyway, before I get onto the deck, let me tell you about the yarn. So this yarn is Fiber Lily. I did it in the color Hush, and it is an 8-ply. And I just did it in a half double crochet because I wanted to get this whipped up as fast as possible. You know, I was like, I'm just going to half double crochet it because it'll work up real fast. So I kind of matched it to the backs of these. This was the closest yarn match that I had to it. This is the Mythos Tarot. So this is a mass market deck. I had pre-ordered it because I love Greek mythology, and this was back when I was pre-ordering decks based on like no card imagery whatsoever. I think all it was just like this, like Mythos. So I had no idea what was coming, and eventually like they do release more pictures getting closer to the pre-order release date. But like I said, I pre-ordered this freaking eons ago, man. This guidebook is in a beautiful rose petal finish, which I think is lovely for guidebooks, and it's in full color glossy paper. So for a mass market deck, I think this is very good quality. So this one is about the Greek gods. I have not done the Olympian spread. I'm going to be honest, like that's just so. I'll do it on today when I have the time. I think it is a very interesting concept with all of the gods for each of the cards. So I will do it. I just haven't had the time because I've just had so many decks to work with. So you get a full color picture of the card, the god that is on there, and a bit about the god that's featured. Then you've got the upright with keywords and the fallen. This one is very interesting because at the end of the reading, they will sort of say like, oh, if this is in regards to a love reading, this will be the thing, or if this is paired with this card, it means this kind of thing. So I find that a lot of the readings for this are quite interesting. They're definitely not just standard RWS readings, which I really appreciate. Otherwise, it gets quite boring if the guidebooks are all the same in terms of what's written. So I did really appreciate that. And like I said, there are sometimes interesting tidbits at the end, which I'm like, oh, fascinating that you would say that. But you've got the same level of writing for all of the cards. So really well done guidebook. These backs, like, yeah, they're okay. I don't love them. I find this deck so interesting in terms of the color story in it. It's just so random. This is very different to this and then to these. It's just all over the shop color wise. It has got the sharp gold gilding. I just wish we could phase that out and just do matte. Can we just do matte gildings from now on? I think that would be wonderful, especially because there's just so many color options too with those. The sharp, they don't wear as well as the matte. That's what I find personally anyway, and like sensory wise, much prefer the matte. So this is on a gloss cardstock, but you know, I'm not going to complain. It's a mass market deck. It does shuffle well. I don't love gloss cardstocks, but it is what it is. So the cards don't always have the same border. The gold border does vary. And then you've got the title of the card as well as the god that is featured on there. Like I said, you'll see that there is very different colors interspersed throughout. These people though, I am 100% convinced that the creator, there's no mention of AI on there, has based these on real life people. There are just a lot of models whose faces I know, and I'm like, oh, that's that model. You know, so I think that does throw me a little bit if it's a face that I do kind of recognize. I'm like, I know that person. It does skew a bit more young. Like Kronos, I would not do as a young man. Okay, like I don't always agree with the depictions of the gods on here personally, or like, and also doing Cerberus as little puppy. I don't really, I don't always also agree with the god that they've used for that particular one, but some of them, you know, absolutely fine. Like this is Sean O'Pree. Like that's the one that really cemented that these are based on models. I'm like, that's Sean O'Pree, man, as Heracles. This is an aged Angelina Jolie. But anyway, that aside, I do like the art style. I think it is pretty. I love that they did gods that you don't normally hear of. You know, or characters in the Greek pantheon. They're not obviously all gods. They are humans in this as well. But they've personified things like, say, the different rivers. So you've got Lethe and the Styx, River Styx. You've got other items in here that are also being sort of kind of personified as, you know, humans or beings, chaos. They've made a woman. So it was interesting seeing what they've chosen and why. And it does kind of make sense. Like I said, visually, I don't agree with everything, and I don't agree with every card that they've picked. But otherwise, overall, and even though it is more of a young, pretty people kind of deck, because it's Greek gods, I'm like, it's fine. And you know what I mean? Like, I'm not like really looking at this for, you know, age and gender and nationality diversity. Like, I'm not expecting that. This is definitely like, come on. Like, I don't know his name. I feel like that's Greek model. That's a dude that has a Greek name, and they've fan cast him as Rysand. I'm sure that's him. I am sure. But yeah, look, I have enjoyed reading with it. I love the Nyx one. It's one of my favorite goddesses. I don't agree with the Persephone depiction on here. But yeah, I have enjoyed reading with it. Like I said, the guidebook I think is well done. It adds a little bit something different, something to ponder, something interesting. I know a lot of people are doing Greek mythology studies in the Tarot Tube community at the moment. And I think obviously Thea's deck is being used predominantly, but now like there is a Greek mythology themed tarot that's mass market. So I think that's fantastic. You know, it can help. That would, you know, add a nice little element to that study if you're doing that. But yeah, overall, I do enjoy it. It says I got lucky with my 2 pre-orders, this one and the Magical Spirit Oracle. I've been burned before. And like I said, I do prefer to wait with mass market decks until other people have done either a walkthrough or unless they've posted a lot of images. So yeah, there's a Persephone and they've done her as a high priestess, which I understand like completely with a pomegranate. But I just don't see her that way. Cora to me either had red hair or Persephone, Queen of the Underworld, has like the dark hair. So the blonde thing was a bit jarring. But yeah, I had fun. So I was really lucky with all of my decks this month. There was, I guess the deck I liked the least would be the City of Dreams, just because it's very much not my sort of cup of tea with artwork. But otherwise, I loved every single deck that I worked with, and I'm keeping every single one of them. So this was a very bountiful month in terms of just like new release decks and Kickstarter decks that came in. But yeah, I've had a phenomenal month playing with all of them, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. This one came in later too, so I haven't had a lot of it, but I have enjoyed the readings that I have done with it, and I will do the Olympian spread. So yeah, these are all the decks and all the things. Oh, I did also crochet a top, but I have to adjust it. It's too much of a mushroom, so I'm going to include that in next month's video. And also I've started crocheting a house dress. But I'm like, I'm not going to show you like partially completed things, so I'll put those in the next one. But that is everything for the month of October, spooky season. Until next time, stay wild, Star Child.